Bodean here, welcome back. And if you're new, welcome aboard. Standing in an amazing location. This is where pioneers used to write their names when they traveled through this valley. But today I'm going to talk about some difficulties during retirement, and even earlier, something to think about. We were talking in the last video about insurance during retirement, and a couple of you have commented it's a real serious situation. It's difficult to navigate, but I do have some facts, and I pulled some facts and some ideas of what we can do, because I'm running up against it as well. Don't think that I'm above the problems with retiring, as I've been sharing. And this is something I started about a month ago when I was displaced from my position. Thinking about insurance, because COBRA insurance was extremely expensive, and I'll get to that in a minute. Well, one of the biggest things was when I filed for SSA, I put on there and that I was unemployed at the same time. I realized that Medicare doesn't kick in, right? So it's a 65 and over kind of a thing for Medicare, unless you have very low, if you're unemployed and you don't have any job at all or any income, there's ways to get Medicare if you qualify, but you can only make under a certain amount of money. So you have to make under like 30,000 or something like that. Don't hold me to that, but it's under that threshold to be able to get it. Well, when you retire and the income that you get, depending on where you're at, you can qualify for some of those things. There are options, so be sure you search on that for Medicare. And one of the biggest things I did is I went out to the marketplace and I shopped the marketplace, and then I also, of course, looked at the COBRA to see which one would benefit me the most. Now, where I'm at with my scenario is I was unemployed, didn't have that much income, and I filed for SSA. So I went out to the marketplace. Marketplace says, no, you can't buy insurance. You make too little. You have to go and try to qualify for Medicaid. So in the process, that application goes through. Then my income kicks in from Social Security, and my wife's income now puts us back onto the marketplace. So we weren't able to get, sorry, I've been hiking. So we're not able to get insurance at all until those processes go through. So we're literally uninsured because I didn't buy the COBRA because it was way too expensive. It would have just taken all my money over the couple months. So I went to qualify, but of course, getting into that system, it really delayed anything. So I've got to wait for the applications. I called them. There'll be a decision and so forth on the Medicaid part of it, and then we'll go forward and have to resubmit. I did submit for the marketplace early enough, or in enrollment date, I should say. If you miss enrollment date on the marketplace, you have to find it be a hardship, like you lose your job or something. You can't just enroll mid-year. You have to go during the enrollment period, or you have to find that hardship to be able to get it. So a little bit difficult. A lot of people are struggling with that with insurance during retirement, and I understand completely, because insurance can be a big deal. And that leads me into the COBRA part of it. So you can keep the same plan as if you were employed. The problem is you're going to pay full premium, right? The employer's not paying anything. They displace you, and they're not responsible at all for the insurance part of it. And it's often way too expensive to get the COBRA, and that's what I found. So there's a short-term bridge there where you might not have insurance at all. And if you have medical conditions or things that need that, you need to plan for that. So I'd always try to leave a little bit of money aside in case that happens to you. But we never know, right? So we never know what's going to happen. The insurance we have is good through our employer, and then all of a sudden, it just takes a turn, and then we've got to make all these decisions. So on top of retiring or trying to figure out how you're going to make income, now you have to figure out how to navigate through the insurance world. So the marketplace to me was the best option. I know a lot of you have chimed in about marketplace, that it was expensive as well. But there are options. You go through the metal tiers, the bronze, silver, gold, so forth. And what I found is myself. I may be different than a lot, but I've kept myself fairly healthy. I don't have any underlying health conditions yet, right? So you never know. But nothing that I have to go to the doctor for. Take no medications. My wife, same thing. No medications. We try to walk, exercise, eat correctly as much as we can, and maybe that lowers the risk of having those problems. And I think it does. Everybody says it does. So we try to live that lifestyle. But navigating through that on marketplace, depending on your income, if you can get marketplace, you can pay as little as $0 for insurance. They may be high deductible. Maybe they're like a major medical, but you still get your checkups and all those things. Your wellness is still included in those insurance plans. Again, if you have a medical incident, you're going to have the higher deductibles and it's going to cost you money. So I chose to look at those plans. I've been on there before. It was a few years back when it existed, just for a 3-month period of time, just to protect myself. Never used it, but it was there if I needed it. So it's very little for us to get insurance when the marketplace does kick out the Medicare portion that they're trying to qualify us for, which we don't need, but it takes a minute to get that done. So we'll be back on a marketplace. We're going to get our insurance fairly affordable. And I ran the real numbers, right? So it's anywhere from $0 to $1,000, depending on your income, to go out on marketplace. There's a lot of variables there, but I encourage everybody to get on the marketplace and at least look at the insurance, because if you don't, you could be missing out. Be sure you contact, your department in your state, because every state's just a little bit different, is what I noticed. And it's extremely important. And I don't have a silver bullet to say, hey, here's the insurance, fix for people. All I can say is, to me, marketplace seems to be one of the strongest areas to look and see if you qualify for it. And these are real concerning situations. It's a big one. Every video I think I put out, I've had people comment that insurance can be a major snag, especially if you have pre-existing conditions or if you have medical needs. But the way to maybe help that is to make sure that we stay as healthy as possible. And hopefully you don't have any underlying conditions. If you do, I understand. And it can be difficult. But trying to be healthy as possible, exercise, move, eat the right foods when you can. It really comes down to that, right? The consumption can really cause a lot of health problems and things that we do. So try to avoid those, because health insurance and medical visits can be extremely important and extremely expensive. My takeaway from this was really doing some of the research myself was just a little bit jaw-dropping with how many people can afford the insurance and how much it can be and how many people don't qualify for Medicare. I feel it should be dropped down to 62 years old. If you can retire at 62, then you should be able to have some kind of an insurance policy that's affordable. It seems to me the system knows, right? It knows that if you, at 62, you're going to take some retirement money. They want to give you less money. They want to make your medical expensive. They try to encourage you to keep moving, putting money into the system, and give you as little out of the system as possible. So what I'm doing, leaning forward into the marketplace to be able to help me out the best, because it's affordable, it's inexpensive. I'm going with a high deductible, and I'm going with major medical, because that's where I'm at this point. And I'm going to ride that out until I'm 65 when, Medicare does kick in. I think there's Part A and Part B. I know that you're supposed to file early on that. If you don't, you're going to end up paying more. You're supposed to file 5 months early before 65 for the Part B, because it's a lot less money. If you file right when you turn 65, you're going to end up paying more. Look on the website, it's a fact. But those things do happen, and we want to make sure that we're covered insurance-wise. I appreciate everybody reaching out on those, because it's a lot that we're seeing in the comments, and a lot of people are questions and answers, and we can get some of that information to be able to help out and see if other people are really experiencing it as well. And so the gap feels overwhelming when you don't have insurance and you don't know if you're going to get it or what kind of insurance and what expenses it's going to be. And I hope everybody figures that out. I appreciate everybody following along. We've got a lot more coming, but I did want to touch on the insurance part of it and how I'm handling it. And I'm handling mine through the marketplace. But again, even doing that, there's still going to be a period of time, probably 3 to 4 months, where I'm not going to be insured because I can't buy it on marketplace, and I'm waiting for Medicare to kick the application back out before it'll allow me to go on marketplace and buy it. So thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody again with the comments. Remember to do something kind for somebody. It'll make you feel fantastic. Always do something great for yourself and make yourself happy every day. And we'll see you in the next one.